how we start off here. It is the Vigoroth, but it is going up against one of the worst things it could have seen, the Medicham, and we now have the swap out from Sonoroman, Medicham versus Medicham.
Yes, and I'm noticing Sonoroman is running 2 counter users plus a Ghost with the Vigoroth, Medicham, and the Sableye. Medicham landing that first Psychic, no defense drop though.
So this is a bit of a tough matchup because this Medicham is going to be hitting super effective versus your entire backline. You do have the nice luxury that these Psychics are resisted by both the Registeel as well as the Galarian Stunfisk, and a nice catch here, able to take the resisted Psychic on the Galarian Stunfisk, but you can see these counters adding up very quick, and this Medicham is now able to make it to this neutral Ice Punch. It's not going to quite KO, but it is going to take this Galarian Stunfisk down into the yellow.
It will, brings it down under half health, and we see this Galarian Stunfisk has a ton of energy already at the
straight for the Earthquake.
And no shield. This is huge. This will knock out this Medicham, leaving Sonoroman to bring in the Vigoroth to finish things up.
All right, well, it should be able to get the farm down here, and yes, unable to get to the Rock Slide. G-Fisk not, the Galarian Stunfisk rather, not quite able to get there. This Vigoroth is now loaded on energy. It's going to try and unleash it upon one of these targets. Let's see what LugiaMaster brings in. It looks to be the Medicham again, but now we have the Sableye lined up versus this Medicham. The switch clock wasn't quite up, but able to exit the matchup now into the Registeel.
Yes, and this Sableye already at 2 foul plays. This little monster of a Pokemon does such a great job of generating energy and firing these charge moves back to back to back. So we saw the first foul play get a shield from the opponent. Will LugiaMaster use the second shield? No.
Well, we see the second one come out here, and the Zap Cannon was available. I'm a bit surprised we didn't see it come out, but trying to farm up to, okay, it was a CMP from what we can see. Charge move priority going to the Sableye. We're going to see the shield come out from the Sableye. The Zap Cannon will, however, debuff its attack one stage.
Yes, so this Sableye starting to build up energy, is going to get to a foul play far before the Registeel is able to get to another Zap Cannon, and LugiaMaster again letting this foul play go through, knowing that the Registeel, knowing that the Registeel can survive it.
All right, but we have a quick swap back into this Vigoroth, and we're going to see the Body Slam come out. I think this is just going to be enough to take out this Registeel. It's going to be very, very close. Still have the Medicham. Oh no, looks like not even close to enough. A little bit of a miscue there, but looks like we have the Zap Cannon coming out. This is not the Focus Blast, and that is a huge call. Not going to be one-hit KOing, but it does set up this Medicham for a big farm down. Perhaps a very heads-up play there.
All right, so taking a look, so the Sableye coming in is going to be threatened by these Ice Punches. Chooses not to shield this first one, and we're going to start seeing those Shadow Claws take its toll on the Medicham. Medicham already has almost 2 Ice Punches. We're going to see the last shield go up on Sonoroman's side. LugiaMaster also still has 1 shield. This is
going to be a race to the finish. We see the last shield come out from Sonoroman. We see the foul play coming through from the Sableye. We're going to see the shield come through from LugiaMaster. This is going to come down to the finish here, guys. I hope you like close finishes. We see the Ice Punches come through, and it is going to, the Medicham is going to get there. This will be enough to feint the Sableye, and that is going to be a good game.
Very, very good game here. So we can see that LugiaMaster taking that game 1. So something I saw for the Vigoroth on that Body Slam against the Registeel, I saw that they did not swipe all of the bubbles, just kind of left them off.
A little bit of an undercharge, huh?
Yeah, so Wholesome, what's the benefit of doing that?
So in some cases, when you're trying to knock out a Pokemon, but you know that it's not quite to another charge move, you can still throw 2 or 3 more charge moves. You'll want to not hit all of the bubbles to thereby do less damage, allowing your Pokemon to then get more fast moves, generate more energy, and take that energy into the next matchup. Unfortunately, I think the switch clock was up, so we saw LugiaMaster swap out, and that Registeel didn't end up getting farmed down whatsoever. In fact, we saw the opposite with the Vigoroth coming and getting farmed down by the Medicham, and all of that energy from that farm down with that Medicham was able to allow what's normally a negative matchup to turn into a positive matchup, up energy, same shields, and that second Ice Punch being just enough to take out that Sableye.
Right, so I just definitely noticed that was something that I found very striking happening, because that's not normally how we see that undercharge work out. So just didn't work. That strategy just didn't appear to work out for Sonoroman.
For those of you watching at home, typically you're going to see those when an opponent is locked in, meaning that they are not able to swap out. If you do an undercharge and then your opponent just swaps out, well, that's just HP that you have to take out later on in the matchup. However, if they are locked in, it can allow you to get those big critical farm down moments. Take that energy into the next matchup and give yourself an advantage. So we're going to take a look at what these opponents have for game number 2. Sonoroman needs to figure out what's the key to victory. I got to keep myself alive here.
Right, so the double fighter and shadow type Pokemon strategy with the Vigoroth, the Medicham, and the Sableye did not quite pan out for Sonoroman the first time. So let's see what we are looking at now. We have Medicham, so a winning lead for Sonoroman, switching out into the opposing Medicham, and now Sonoroman's sitting in a really good place with Sableye.
Yeah, so we actually see the same team from Sonoroman, although in a bit of a different alignment here. We see the Medicham in the lead, lined up versus the Registeel instead of the Vigoroth that we saw last time. To your point, we now have the Sableye up against this Medicham. This is about as good of a matchup as the Sableye can get, hitting super effective with the Shadow Claws, able to hit for neutral with the Foul Play, all while resisting the fast moves from the Medicham and only taking damage from the non-stab Ice Punch that we see right here.
Sableye not quite able to farm down the Medicham able to throw an Ice Punch just before it faints. Ice Punch not enough to KO the Sableye, but does take it down to very, very low HP.
All right, well, we see the Registeel come back in. I don't know if it's going to be able to fully farm down this Sableye. It would be one of the largest farm downs that we're going to see in Pokemon Go. But we do see the Foul Play come through. I think that the Sableye is going to make it to another one before this Registeel is able to make it to energy. At this point, do you just commit to this farm down DeFi?
You might. It's so tough to lose all of that energy that it takes to get to these two very big heavy-hitting moves. It looks like the Registeel not wanting to try to farm down with that lock-on fast move, and instead opts to throw the Focus Blast. Sonoroman, knowing the Sableye has done as good a job as it can and letting it faint.
Yeah, you have to be happy being able to take out the entire Medicham and almost all the Registeel with one single Pokemon. What we have now is the Air/Mandibuzz making an appearance, going to be hitting super effective versus this Medicham. Medicham able to hit back, however, with these Ice Punches, knowing that this is your last Pokemon with HP still left on it, going to have to start shielding up these Ice Punches.
Right, and it hurts to shield a Mandibuzz so early on because it is so bulky, it can take a lot of hits, but LugiaMaster has a long road ahead. It's Mandibuzz against everything, and Mandibuzz has no shields, while Sonoroman and the Vigoroth still have 2.
All right, we're going to have a little bit more of a neutral matchup here. Rather than taking super effective from those air slashes, we're going to have another counter user come through with the Vigoroth. It's still going to be hitting for neutral with these counters and building to these body slams very quickly. These are stab body slams. We talked about the strength of this move. Despite the bulk of this Mandibuzz, the Protect shields are down, and we're going to see these body slams start to chip away.
We are. So slowly but surely, and then Mandibuzz going ahead and throwing one of its charge moves. It looks like this is a foul play onto the Vigoroth, taking it down into the red. But Vigoroth is definitely going to outpace, maybe trying to make a catch, doesn't. Vigoroth just knocking out that last Pokemon.
A bit surprised by that no shield on the Vigoroth, though nonetheless it is able to get to this next body slam. Switch clock should be coming up relatively soon, but we're going to see this Mandibuzz likely farm down this Vigoroth, unfortunately. Oh no, look at that. The Vigoroth able to hang on with 1 HP and take the victory there. We have Sonoroman tying up the series. We saw the same team there, DeFi, but the key this time was perhaps getting the Medicham lined up early versus that Registeel, and then able to have the Sableye on the Medicham this time. Two totally different matchups.
Yes, and leading to that decisive Game 3. Let us know in the Twitch chat, let us know at home. How do you feel about these Game 3s? Are you loving them as much as we are?
We're getting all the Game 3s, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, you love to see it. We love Game 3s, that's right. Okay, well, we still have not seen that Trevenant come out. I don't know that we're going to. Sonoroman may try to run the same team, perhaps this time with Sableye lead, just to try and keep things mixed up a little bit. But that double fighter strategy has proved to be very strong versus LugiaMaster's team. The first game game, we saw both the Registeel as well as the Galarian Stunfisk. That steel typing taking super effective from the counter fast moves from the Vigoroth and the Medicham there. I don't know that there's anything from LugiaMaster's team that he can really do to counter that, unless maybe his own Trevenant. So that could be something interesting if we see both Trevenants come out in Game 3.
Yeah, we saw a lack of Trevenant in the last matchup that we saw with our previous two battlers. Maybe we can see that switched around here, both battlers having access to the Trevenant, but we haven't really been seeing it lately.
Yeah, you see a lot of teams run two counter users. There's just so much that the counter can hit. It's a great fast move to begin with. One of the best fast moves, high damaging from a fast move pressure perspective, builds energy quickly as well, and there's so many typings that take, very common typings, that take super effective damage.
All right, here we are in this Game 3. We have Vigoroth against the Mandibuzz. We saw this matchup earlier, the counter damage hitting for neutral against Mandibuzz being a dark and flying type Pokemon, canceling each other out for neutral damage.
I think if you're Sonoroman here, I feel like you're pretty thankful that you don't have your Vigoroth lined up versus that Medicham. That was definitely the formula for failure in the first game, but let's see how this matchup ends up playing out. Already at 2 body slams, going to start unleashing this energy on the Mandibuzz.
And I did sneak a peek over on LugiaMaster's side. We do see them bringing a Trevenant.
I know, this is our first sighting of the Trevenant. Is not going to want to be lined up versus that Sableye, so this lead matchup could prove to be very decisive.
It definitely can. The lead matchups can tell a lot about how the rest of the game is going to go. They have a lot of potential. So Sonoroman having to decide, and does decide to use a Protect Shield here to protect the Vigoroth, not wanting to give up this lead matchup quite yet.
Okay.
And then here is this Body Slam.
Yeah, well, able to just get off that charge move the Mandibuzz was just before this Vigoroth. Vigoroth now going to throw this energy, and it is going to be a race to the finish here. Which one of these is going to be able to farm the other one down? Right now I have to give the advantage to the Vigoroth.
Yes, and the Vigoroth does take that advantage. We are at shield parity here, 1-to-1 in shields, and here comes this Body Slam using the last little bit of energy it has before it faints.
So Vigoroth very cleanly winning that one shield matchup. May have been a little bit different had that Mandibuzz been running Snarl, but with the Air Slash, unable to build to the moves quite as fast. And now you're in a position where this is actually very interesting. The Sableye is going to be a very nice answer for this Medicham, but you're going to see the Sableye chipped away from this Medicham. And what's in the back here, DeFi?
In the back, we have another Medicham, so we are looking in the end to have a Medicham Trevenant matchup at the very end here, which that very cleanly will go to the Trevenant.
Okay, well, fortunately here for Sonoroman, still has the Sableye relatively healthy and should be able to get 2 of these foul plays. So I don't even know if we're going to be seeing the Medicham come out. This Sableye proved to be the decisive on here, and I think that we're going to be seeing it cleaning up this backline here from LugiaMaster.
Yeah, just allowing. Oh,
and
what
a catch! And the crowd goes wild, able to catch the Leaf Blade. This is going to be hitting for neutral, not the Shadow Ball that you want to be throwing versus this Medicham. Really great plays coming out from Sonoroman here.
Yeah, so even though the Medicham does typically lose this matchup against the Trevenant, Trevenant's going to do its best throwing Seed Bombs, forcing Sonoroman's last shield. We still have that Sableye in the back.
All right, we're going to have to see how much this Ice Punch does. Right now, this Trevenant is sitting a little bit below half HP. Is this going to be enough to knock out? Is this enough to close the series out? Yes, it is. There it is. Game number 3 going to Sonoroman.